Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here today. For this session, I want you to think of me as your attending physician, and we're going to go on a clinical rotation right here, together. We're about to conduct a guided head-to-toe physical examination to basically decode your body's secret language. Because, every single day, your body is sending you signals. The real question is, are we actually paying attention?
Seriously, let me ask you, do you know what your body is trying to tell you? We all notice little changes when we look in the mirror, right? A new bump, maybe a weird change in our nails, or just having really cold hands. But how do you tell the difference between just a harmless physical quirk and a critical, early warning sign of an actual illness? Well, today I'm giving you the diagnostic toolkit to figure exactly that out.
And there's a saying I love that brilliantly illustrates our core philosophy today. Your body is keeping a timeline you didn't ask for. It's so true. Unexplained symptoms aren't just random annoyances. They are literally a historical record of what is happening right underneath your skin. When your internal systems start to struggle, they always leave clues on the outside.
So here's our game plan for today's physical. We'll take a highly systematic approach. 1. Clues in your face. 2. Mouth and neck signals. 3. Reading hands and nails. And 4. Skin and systemic warnings. Let's just dive right in.
Starting off with section 1, clues in your face, we're going to examine the eyes and eyebrows.
Okay, so a lot of people see these tiny little bumps under their eyes and naturally assume, oh, it's just a skincare issue, I need a new cream. But as you're attending today, I need you to distinguish between milia and xanthelasma. Milia are just harmless little keratin cysts. They literally mean nothing. But xanthelasma? No, that is your cholesterol actively depositing under your skin. Your body is so overloaded that it's having to store excess cholesterol right where you can see it. These bumps, they don't hurt, they don't itch, but they are a visible warning note slapped on your face about what your arteries are quietly dealing with on the inside. If these show up and stay, it's not a dermatology issue, it's a blood test waiting to happen.
Now, take a really close look at the colored part of the eye. Sometimes you'll spot a pale gray or white ring forming around the outer edge. Clinically, we call that arcus. Now, what's really fascinating here is the difference age makes. If you're 70 years old, this is totally normal. It's just expected aging. But if you see this gray ring at 30, or really any time before 45, that is a major red flag for high cholesterol or high blood fats. Your eye is literally showing you on the outside what is building up everywhere else inside your body.
Moving just a bit higher, let's check the eyebrows. Notice the outer third of your eyebrows, the part closest to your temples. If they are quietly vanishing, please don't just blame aging or overplucking. In the clinic, we actually call this the sign of Hertog. See, your thyroid controls how fast your body repairs and regrows tissue. When your thyroid slows down, your body goes into triage mode and stops prioritizing things it considers non-essential. And unfortunately, that outer eyebrow tail, it gets cut straight from the budget. If this hair loss is paired with fatigue, weight gain, and feeling constantly cold, you definitely need a thyroid panel.
All right, let's do a quick 10-second clinical check right now. If you're near a mirror, gently pull down your lower eyelid. That inner rim should be a strong, healthy pink or red. If it's pale, like almost the exact same color as your skin, it strongly points to low hemoglobin or anemia. It's basically a free, instant window right into your blood oxygen levels. On the flip side, if the whites of your eyes start shifting to yellow, that is jaundice. That means your liver is really struggling to clear out bilirubin. A pale eyelid is a strong nudge to go get an iron test, but yellowing eyes, that is a same-week doctor's visit for sure.
All right, let's move down to section 2, mouth and neck signals. We're going to look at what deficiencies and metabolism issues actually look like on the surface.
You know those incredibly annoying, painful cracks at the corners of your mouth that just stubbornly refuse to heal? People will slather on lip balm for months trying to fix this, but it's actually a condition called angular cheilitis, and it usually signals an internal deficiency, most commonly B vitamins or iron. You gotta fix the inside so the outside can heal. Meanwhile, stick your tongue out. A thin, clear film is totally normal, but if you have a heavy, thick, white coat that you can almost scrape off, that's oral thrush, which is an overgrowth of Candida yeast. The question is, why did your body stop keeping that everyday yeast in check? Usually it points to a weakened immune system, recent heavy antibiotic use, or totally uncontrolled blood sugar. Shifting to the neck, let's look at a very specific clinical term, acanthosis nigricans. These are dark, velvety, almost suede-like patches of thickened skin that tend to show up on the back of the neck, the armpits, or the groin. You would not believe how many people scrub and scrub at these patches for weeks, thinking it's just stubborn dirt. Listen, it is not dirt, and absolutely no amount of soap is going to wash it away.
So, here is the crucial point you need to take away. Acanthosis nigricans is quite literally your metabolism asking for help. It is one of the most reliable, early, visible signs of insulin resistance. Because your body is pumping out all this excess insulin to try and keep your blood sugar down, that insulin actually acts as a growth factor, telling the skin in those specific areas to overgrow and thicken. This often shows up way, way before you'd ever be diagnosed as diabetic. It is an incredibly valuable early warning system.
Moving right along to section 3, reading hands and nails. The extremities are amazing at revealing our internal timelines.
First off, just check the natural curve of your nails. They should curve down gently, right? Well, if they actually dip in the middle, like a shallow spoon, literally so much so that they could hold a drop of water, that is a condition called koilonychia. This is a very classic sign of severe iron deficiency, or sometimes an underlying thyroid issue. And honestly, here is the unsettling part about this one. Because your nails grow so incredibly slowly, this isn't an early warning. By the time your nails are literally spoon-shaped, your body has already been running low on iron for months. Time for another quick physical test we can do together. Put your 2 index fingers together, nail to nail. Look right at the base where the cuticles meet. You should see a tiny, diamond-shaped gap of light shining through. If that gap is totally closed up and your fingertips look kind of widened and bulbous, that is called clubbing. This is your body physically adapting over months and years to chronically low oxygen levels in the blood, and it points directly to underlying lung or heart issues. It is a vital sign you absolutely need to take seriously.
Now, let's see how this perfectly builds upon that whole idea of your body as a timeline. Vertical ridges on your nails, that's usually just normal aging. But horizontal grooves, those are called Bowes lines. Each deep horizontal line marks a specific moment in time when a severe bodily trauma, like a massive high fever, a major illness, or intense physical stress, literally halted your nail growth in its tracks. Because your nails grow at a very steady pace, you can actually date the trauma. For example, if a deep ridge is sitting exactly halfway up your nail today, it marks a severe biological event that happened roughly 3 to 6 months ago. It's pretty wild.
And hey, what if those hands we're inspecting are just constantly freezing? If you are reliably ice cold while everyone else in the room is totally comfortable, it's really not just a cute personality quirk. Low iron means your blood is simply worse at moving oxygen and heat down to your extremities. An underactive thyroid means you have a slower metabolism, which literally generates less core heat. Or it could be Raynaud's syndrome, where your blood vessels wildly overreact to cold temperatures. The main point being, reliably ice-cold hands mean your body is failing to generate or distribute warmth properly.
Bringing us to our final part, section 4, skin and systemic warnings. This is for when the whole body sounds an alarm.
Think about a normal small cut. It should really heal up in about a week, right? Well, if tiny wounds are suddenly taking forever to heal, you need to pay very close attention. Elevated glucose, so high blood sugar, is usually the culprit here. It damages the tiny blood vessels that are supposed to deliver oxygen and repair materials to the wound. Even worse, it dulls the nerves. So the really dangerous trap here is you have a wound that won't heal, and you might not even feel it enough to notice if it gets infected. Healing is supposed to be an automatic process. If it's suddenly not, please go get your blood sugar tested.
Next up is unexplained bruising. Look, if you bump your shin on a coffee table and get a bruise, that's totally fine. But if you're seeing clusters of bruises appearing out of nowhere and you have absolutely no memory of an injury, that means your clotting system is failing. This could be due to low blood platelets, liver disease, certain vitamin shortfalls, or in rare cases, early signs of a blood disorder. A bruise you can explain is just a bruise, but a spread of bruises you can't explain, that absolutely requires blood work. And finally, relentless full-body itching. I'm not talking about basic dry skin in the winter or a bug bite. I mean an intense itching that just won't quit, with absolutely no rash on the skin surface. When there's nothing wrong on the outside, the cause is internal. A struggling liver, for instance, can let bile acids build up right under the skin, causing severe itching. Kidneys, thyroid, and iron issues can also trigger it. And in some specific cases, especially if it's worse at night or right after a hot shower, it can even be an early sign of lymphoma. Most itching is harmless, but an itch with no obvious cause that drags on for weeks is literally your internal organs asking for help. Don't just reach for the lotion, find out why it's happening. As we wrap up our physical exam in this explainer today, I really want you to burn this one rule into your memory. An explained symptom is a nuisance, but an unexplained symptom, That is information. Your skin, your eyes, your nails, they are all essentially monitors displaying the health of the complex machinery inside. Never ever ignore the unexplained.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Your body is constantly speaking to you in this amazing secret language of bumps, ridges, and little changes. Now that you've got the translation guide, are you ready to become the medical detective of your own health and start actually listening? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, stay curious about your health.